the wild animals living inside our homes. Do you think your dog is tame? Do you think your cat is harmless? Do you think they are best companions, family? And they are. But inside your living room lives a predator. Not metaphorically, biologically, your dog may sleep on a soft bed. Your cat may curl up on a windowsill, but beneath the fur, beneath the routine, beneath the comfort of domestication, there are instincts shaped by thousands of years of survival. Cats and dogs are not separate from the wild. They are the wild, adapted, refined, reshaped by human proximity, but not erased. When a dog suddenly freezes mid-walk, ears forward, body tense, that is not random behavior. It is scanning, evaluating, assessing movement and scent in the environment. When a cat crouches low, tail twitching, eyes locked on a fluttering shadow, that is not play, it is rehearsal, a compressed hunting sequence unfolding in miniature. We often mistake familiarity for transformation because the animals live inside our homes. We assume their nature has changed, but domestication is not deletion. It is modification. The skeleton of a dog still resembles its wolf ancestors. The teeth of a cat still mirror those of wild felines. Their sensory systems remain exquisitely tuned for survival tasks. Dogs possess olfactory capabilities far beyond human perception. A dog's sense of smell is estimated to be tens of thousands of times more sensitive than ours. What seems like a simple walk around the block is, for a dog, a complex landscape of invisible information. Who passed by, when, in what emotional state. Scent is memory layered onto space. For cats, vision and hearing dominate. Their pupils dilate in low tide. Their ears rotate independently. They detect frequencies far beyond human hearing. A tiny rooster in grass can tickle full body attention. Even indoor cats, far removed from forests and fields, respond instinctively to subtle stimuli. Because domestication did not redesign their nervous systems, it redirected them. When we say domestic animal, we often imagine something fundamentally altered, something softened, something dependent. But dependency does not erase ancestry. Dogs evolved from groups, cats from small wild cats. And though thousands of years of coexistence with humans have shaped their behavior, the blueprint remains visible. Look closely at the dog's posture when playing tug-of-war. So tension, head shaking side to side. They mimics prey displaying behavior seen in wild canines. Observe how dogs circle before lying down, a behavior linked to ancestor nest preparation in tall grass. Cats need soft surfaces with their paws, a motion rooted in kittenhood, stimulating milk flow from their mother. Even affection is layered with instinct. When a cat rubs against your leg, it is marking you with scent glance, claiming, blending, integrating you into its territory map. When a dog leans against you, it is seeking security through physical contact. Back behavior embedded deep in social kinetic evolution. We interpret the gestures emotionally. An emotion is real, but beneath the emotion is biology. Consider teeth. Dogs retain carnivorous dentition, molars shaped for shearing flesh. Though modern diets are processed, their digestive systems evolved for high protein intake. Cats are even more specialized. They are obligate carnivores. They require nutrients like taurine that occur naturally in animal tissue. Unlike omnivorous species, cats cannot thrive on plant-based diets alone. Their bodies are still wired for hunting. Claws retract for stealth. Whiskers detect spatial boundaries. Night vision surpasses ours. Domestication has reduced certain fear responses, increased their sociability, but it has not rewritten fundamental anatomy. It becomes clear when bears escape into the outdoors. Stray dogs from packs establish hierarchies, hunt opportunistically. Feral cats revert quickly to solitary territorial behavior. In many parts of the world, free-ranging dogs and cats survive independently of humans. They scavenge, hunt, breed, compete. The line between domestic and wild blurs easily, because domestication is a gradient, not a switch. Even within homes, instinct surfaces daily. A squeaky toy triggers pre-drive. A passing squirrel activates pursuit circuits. A sudden loud noise activates startle reflex on an ancestor forest. And that the animals coexist with Earth peacefully most of the time. That duality fascinates researchers. How can an apex predator sleep calmly beside a human child? How can an animal evolved for survival in harsh landscapes adapt to cultures and climate control? The answer lies in social flexibility. Dogs evolved from groups, already highly social animals. Social species adapt more easily to new group structures. Humans became the new pack. Selective breeding amplified traits favorable to human companionship, reduced aggression, increased attentiveness to human cues, enhanced tolerance for close proximity. Cats followed a slightly different path. Unlike dogs, cats were not actively domesticated at first. They lightly self-domesticated. Drawn to early agricultural settlements where rodents were abundant. Humans tolerated their presence, cats tolerated humans. Mutual benefit emerged. Over generations, large fearful individuals thrived near people. Selection favored sociability, but only to a point. Modern domestic cats remain far more independent than dogs. Their attachment style differs, less hierarchical, more negotiated. That difference reveals something profound. Domestication does not erase species identity. It shapes it in relation to human systems. Dogs became partners in hunting, guarding, herding, search and rescue. Cats became pest controllers, solitary hunters, thriving at the edge of human habitation. Their wild traits were not eliminated, they were integrated. Now pause and look at the bat again. The way your dog tilts its head when you speak. The way your cat tracks movement with laser precision. They are not kill accidents. They are ancient adaptations operating in modern rooms. There is something powerful about recognizing that the animal sleeping at your feet is connected to evolutionary history, stretching tens of thousands of years. A group lineage crossing ice age tundras, a wild cat stalking through Middle Eastern grasses. Time compresses inside our homes. We do not share space with simplified creatures, we share space with evolutionary survivors. And that realization changes perspective. It invites respect because affection without understanding can lead to mismanagement. Treating animals as plush companions rather than sentient predators can create conflict. Boredom in dogs manifests as destructive behavior. Lack of stimulation in cats results in stress or aggression. When instinct is ignored, it resurfaces in unintended ways. Understanding wild roots allows better care, mental enrichment, physical exercise, structured play that mimics hunting sequences, social interaction aligned with species behavior. We do not need to make best wild again, but we must acknowledge that they never stopped being animals. They are not decorative. They are biological systems shaped by natural selection. And when we live with them, we live with that legacy. Cats and dogs are among the most successful species on Earth, not because they abandoned their wilderness, but because they adapted it to human worlds. They crossed Earth threshold few animals have managed. From forests and stepped into kitchens and bedrooms, that the wild push remains steady beneath domestication, not as threat, but as memory, not as danger, but as instinct. The predator in your living room does not diminish the bond you share, it deepens it. Because love between species is extraordinary, precisely because biology remains intact. We coexist not by erasing nature, but by learning to live alongside it. And in the next part, we will explore how that coexistence began, how ghosts became dogs, how wild cats became companions, how one of the most unlikely partnerships in evolutionary history reshaped both animals and humans. Because domestication did not just change them, it changed Earth too. The evolution, long before cities, long before farms, long before written language, humans shared the landscape with predators. Wolves tracked herds, escort ice age plains. Small wildcats stalked rodents in tall grasses. The animals were not best. They were competitors. They were threats. They were neighbors in the wild. And that, somewhere in deep prehistory, something shifted. The story of dogs begins not with control, but with proximity. Genetic evidence suggests that dogs diverged from goats at least 15,000 years ago, possibly earlier, perhaps 20,000 to 30,000 years in some regions. The exact timeline is debated, but what is clear is that dogs did not descend from modern goats. They share a common ancestor, an ancient goat population that no longer exists in pure form. How did goats become dogs? One leading theory is the self-domestication hypothesis. Imagine early human hunter-gatherer camps. After a successful hunt, bones and scraps remain. Weight accumulates near camp edges. Some groups, less fearful than others, approach cautiously. They scavenge. The boldest groups come closer. The most aggressive groups are driven away. Over generations, groups that tolerate human presence gain reliable access to food. Natural selection favors reduced fear and lower aggression. The proto-dogs began living at the margins of human groups. Humans in turn benefit. Early warning systems. Groups bark or growl at approaching danger. Scavengers reduce waste. Eventually, cooperation deepens. Humans may adopt group pups, raise them, select individuals with desirable traits. The relationship becomes mutualistic. Unlike domestication of livestock, which required active breeding and confinement, dog domestication may have begun as ecological partnership. Two species exploiting similar prey landscapes, eventually choosing to ally. Dogs evolved not just physically but cognitively. Studies show that dogs are exceptionally skilled at reading human gestures. They follow pointing cues better than even chimpanzees. They make eye contact. They respond to tone of voice. They evolve sensitivity to human communication. They likely emerged because individuals better at interpreting human behavior had survival advantages. 1,000 of years, artificial selection amplified traits we value: herding ability, guarding instinct, retrieving behavior, companionship. The diversity of dog breeds today reflects intense human-directed selection. From tiny lap dogs to massive guardians, from scent hounds to sled dogs. Underneath that diversity, the wolf blueprint remains. Now consider cats. Their story differs. Domestic cats trace ancestry to the African wildcat, Felis silvestris libica. Around 9,000 to 10,000 years ago, agriculture emerged in the Near East. Grain storage attracted rodents. Rodents attracted wildcats. Unlike goats, wildcats are solitary. They do not form packs. They do not cooperate in hunts. They are territorial. Their domestication likely occurred through gradual tolerance rather than structured integration. Wildcats that were less fearful thrived near human settlements. Humans tolerated them because they controlled the pest. No formal training was required, no herding roles, no pulling sleds. Cats did what they already did: hunt small prey. The relationship was looser, more parallel than intertwined. Archaeological evidence supports this. One of the earliest known human cat barriers was discovered in Cyprus, dating back around 9,500 years. The cats were buried intentionally beside a human that suggests emotional or symbolic significance. But cats were never reshaped as dramatically as dogs. Genetically, domestic cats remain very similar to their wild ancestors. Many domestic cats can interbreed with wild cats. Behaviorally, they retain strong independence. Selective breeding in cats focused more on appearance than working roles. Coat patterns, eye color, body shape, behavior remains relatively conserved. Dogs, in contrast, underwent behavioral specialization. Herding dogs show instinctive crouching and eye fixation patterns inherited from predatory sequences. Modified but not eliminated, retrievers carry objects gently in mouths without crushing. Guarding breeds display territorial vigilance. Humans shaped canine instinct into utility. Cats were allowed to remain closer to original form. Their difference explains why dogs, often look to humans for instruction. Cats often negotiate on their own terms, that both species underwent what scientists call domestication syndrome. That refers to a set of traits that commonly appear in domesticated animals. Reduced fear response, changes in coat coloration, floppier ears in some species, shorter nose, altered reproductive cycles. These traits are linked to changes in neural cell development during embryonic growth. Selecting for tameness affects broader development pathways. A famous experiment in Russia with silver foxes demonstrated this. Researchers selectively bred foxes for reduced fear of humans. Within generations, foxes began exhibiting dog-like behaviors, wagging tails, seeking human attention. Even changes in ear shape and coat color emerged. Selecting behavior altered morphology. Domestication is not just behavioral adjustment. It reshapes biology at deep levels, but it never fully erases wild origin. Even the most affectionate dog retains prey drive. Even the calmest cat retains stalking behavior. Domestication created a new niche, the human household. In evolutionary terms, that niche is unprecedented. Food security, shelter, medical care. In return, animals offer companionship, work, protection, emotional connection. The relationship transformed both sides. Humans benefited from canine hunting sport, from rodent control by cats. But more than that, emotional bonds formed. There is evidence that interaction with dogs increases oxytocin levels in humans, the hormone associated with bonding. Dogs may experience similar hormonal responses when interacting with humans. The mutual feedback loop strengthens attachment. Domestication became partnership at neurological level. The co-evolution of humans and dogs may have influenced human social structure. Some anthropologists propose that cooperation with dogs enhanced hunting efficiency, which in turn influenced settlement patterns. Even symbolic culture reflects the bond. Dogs appear in ancient cave paintings, in mythology, in burial rituals. Cats were revered in ancient Egypt, associated with deities. Protected by law, companionship evolved into cultural integration. Few other species share the depth of entanglement with humans. Cows and sheep were domesticated for food, horses for transport, but dogs and cats entered domestic spaces intimately. Bedrooms, firesides, arms, they cross not just ecological thresholds, but emotional ones that divide their intimacy. Their biology remains rooted in survival instincts. Weight creates tension. Modern urban life differs dramatically from ancestral environments, confined spaces, limited stimulation, artificial lighting, processed diets. Human work schedules. Animals evolved for dynamic landscapes now live structured indoor routines. Understand domestication as an ongoing process helps frame responsibility. Dogs are not wolves, cats are not wildcats, but neither are they plush toys. They are co-evolved partners navigating environments far removed from those that shaped their ancestors. The evolution of companionship is not static history, it continues. Selective breeding still alters traits. Urbanization influences behavior. Human lifestyles shape daily routines. The bond between species evolves across generations. What began at the edge of campfires thousands of years ago now exists in apartments and houses across the globe. Millions of households share space with descendants of ancient predators. The partnership had endured because it benefits both species. But understanding its origins reveals something essential. Our pets are not artificial creations. They are evolutionary stories still unfolding. And recognizing that story helps us honor both their wild heritage and their domestic role. In the next part, we will look more closely at what remains beneath the surface, the instincts that persist, the behaviors that reveal ancient wiring, the hidden predator still present in paws and whiskers, because companionship did not eliminate wilderness, it redirected it. You may feed your dog from a stainless steel bowl. You may buy toys for your cat. You may call them by affectionate names, but inside their nervous systems, ancient circuits remain intact. Instinct is not erased by comfort. It weighs. It activates when triggered. It shapes behavior in subtle ways. Let's begin with the predatory sequence. In wild carnivores, hunting follows a pattern: orient, eye, stalk, chase, grab, kill, dissect, consume. In domestic animals, the sequence is often fragmented but never fully removed. When a dog locks onto a moving object, that is the orient phase. When a border collie crouches low and stares at sheep, that is eye and stalk. When a terrier shakes a toy violently side to side, that is the kill bite. Selective breeding has emphasized different segments of this sequence. Herding breeds exaggerate stalking and eye contact, but suppress the kill bite. Retrievers emphasize grabbing and carrying without crushing. Side hounds amplify taste. Terriers amplify bite and shake. Even lap dogs retain micro-expression of predatory drive. Quick head turns at sudden movement. Cats display the full sequence more consistently. A flickering shadow triggers eye fixation. Body lowers, pupils widen, tail tip twitches. Then the silent pause. Indoor cats may never encounter true prey, but laser pointers, strings, and small toys activate the same circuitry. Play is not random fun, it is practice, neural rehearsal of survival behavior. When cats chatter at birds outside window, that rapid clicking sound may reflect frustration or predatory excitement. They are watching prey they cannot access. The body prepares, the brain calculates, but class intervenes. Now consider territory. Dogs evolved from pack-based ancestors. Territory mattered, resources required defense. Modern dogs still exhibit territorial behavior, barking at strangers approaching the door, marking boundaries with scent, patrolling jars. Even small apartment dogs map territory psychologically. Doors, furniture, owner proximity. Cats are even more territorial. They map space in layers. Core territory, the area of greatest security. Peripheral zone spaces occasionally explored. Scent marking reinforces boundaries. When a cat scratches furniture, it is not simply sharpening claws. It is depositing scent from glands in its burrows. When it wraps its face along corners, it is blending environment into familiar territory. In multi-cat households, tension often arises from territorial overlap. Subtle signals communicate hierarchy. Body posture, tail height, eye contact, duration. We often miss the signals because they are quiet, but cats do not. Communication in dogs and cats relies heavily on body language. Tail position conveys emotional state. Ear orientation signals attention or threat. Drowning may indicate stress. Lip licking can be appeasement. Raised hackler signal arousal, not always aggression, but heightened alertness. Dogs read human body language remarkably well. A slight shift in posture can alter their response. They evolved sensitivity to human gaze and gesture. Cats are more selective. They may avoid direct eye contact, interpreting prolonged staring at talent. Understanding these signals prevents conflict. Ignoring them can escalate tension. Now examine social structure. Dogs retain pack-oriented tendencies, though domestic dogs rarely form wolf-like packs with strict hierarchies. They respond to social organization. Clear routines reduce anxiety, predictable feeding times, consistent commands, stable relationships. Chaos increases stress. Cats operate differently. They are facultatively social, capable of social living under resource abundance, but not dependent on it. In fur colonies, cats form loose associations, not rigid hierarchies. Resources dictate proximity. In homes, forced proximity can cause chronic stress if resources are limited. Multiple litter boxes, multiple feeding stations, vertical escape routes. The environmental structures respect feline instinct